guests, international and local guests who are present here today, do receive these greetings from the Central Executive Committee of Cosatu. Comrades, this special National Congress has been convened based on the Constitution of Cosatu, in particular clause 3.3.2. It instructs the President that he must call a special National Congress if the CEC passes a resolution calling for the meeting, or if not less than 1/3 of the affiliates in good standing submit a written request to the General Secretary for the attention of the President calling for the meeting. This is a culmination of a process dating back to 2013 September, when the CEC got to discuss this matter for the first time, up until the 19th of November 2014, when the CEC took a decision after the report of the President, a decision to convene this special National Congress. At that time, on the 19th of November 2014, the dates were set the 13th and the 14th of July 2015, I'm sorry. In the process of preparation towards this day, Cosatu's unions, or rather say some, were mobilized as a parallel organization to wage a campaign against their own federation, including boycotting the constitutional meetings such as the CEC. They did not participate in the engagements in the CEC, in particular when we were dealing with internal democratic processes. Our unions got funded and some received monies as part of patronage to secure their commitment to act against their own federation. Workers' subscription fees were used to attack their own federation, not to attack their class enemy. The federation was taken to courts. Unsuspecting members of our unions were mobilized to march against their federation. The leadership of Cosatu was insulted, and the name of Cosatu was put into disrepute. We remained in the public media throughout the period for all the negative reasons. All this was done based on a false pretext that the President of Cosatu had refused to convene the Special National Congress, when everybody was aware that such a decision was taken on the 19th of November 2014. In this regard, let me make this one clear, comrades. This Special National Congress, convened on the basis of Cosatu's constitution, is indeed convened as such. It is not convened by any court. It is convened as per the clause that I've just referred to. It is not a special congress of a section of the unions of Cosatu. It is a special National Congress of Cosatu. We must all refuse to reduce the Special National Congress we have come to attend into just a debating society which is meant only for shouting and clapping of hands, and at the end, a winner must be declared. We must not make the Cosatu Congress to be like that. The Special Congress of Cosatu was convened to find lasting solutions to the challenges confronting our federation. It was convened to provide answers to the workers and the working class in general, who are confronted with the real poverty, unemployment, inequality. It is convened so that those workers who have their hopes on Cosatu, their hopes can be rejuvenated. We have been recently inspired by the visit in our country of the Cuban Five. They were able to resuscitate our resilience, our commitment, our resolve to fight for our own emancipation at the workplace. For they were so resilient when they were incarcerated in the jails for over 15 years, for having stood for a principle. When their country, when the revolution had taken a decision that Cuba was to pursue a socialist revolution, they were jailed so that that voice is silent. They never gave up, even when they were put in solitary confinements by the American system, trying to force them to denounce socialism. They said, no. We as Cosatu in South Africa, we have to draw strength from the resilience of the Cuban Five. We must inspire hope to the workers of the country. We must inspire hope to our alliance partners so that we pursue other resolves, so that we can inspire hope to those who are still remaining in bondages in their own countries. We must inspire the Swaziland people who are still suffering under a vicious system of Tinkundla, that one day they will be free too. We must inspire the Palestinian people who are looking at our own struggles, our own campaign, and can be able to say, if the Cuban Five, if the Cubans did it, if South Africa could do it, so the Palestinian people shall be free one day. We must demonstrate to the vicious system of America that it is not a God. America is not God. An evil system can also be defeated. We have to demonstrate that. Let them get that message so clearly. We are calling on all our unions and members to be more vigilant and be very careful about organizations from America who are promising funding and including invitations of some of our young men and women in South Africa, in particular from our trade unions, invited to countries, in particular to America, where these invitations are not honest invitations. These invitations are feeding direct into the agenda of the powerful forces out there who identify a number of countries in Africa and elsewhere for a peak for regime change. Our young men and women must be careful. America is a nice thing to be, but America is also dangerous. It is about using some NGOs and some key and influential leaders in any country they pick, work on those individuals to be agents that will be able to change course within organizations so that those organizations are able to revolt against the systems that they had picked that they must be replaced. So be careful. Be careful even of the money you receive from them. There is no free lunch. If somebody gives you money, they want something back from you. Do not trade with your soul. Do not trade with the principle. Stay true to the commitment you have resolved to as a leader in your union, in your organization. Stay true to the principles. Do not trade away those principles just because there is money. The offensive against the international working class is in all fronts. We're meeting here today. There is almost consistency in all the research reports that are there about the plight of the working class the globe over. Unemployment still remains quite high in many, many areas of the globe. South Africa itself remains at over 25%. Broad definition, over 36%. That means you have in South Africa more than 8 million men and women who are fit to work, but they are not working. You have in South Africa the highest forms of inequality, where the rich is getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Therefore, the gap is increasing. That is the direct attack on the working class. The question is, what is Cosatu going to do about that? How is Cosatu going to fight this battle when Cosatu is not united? Cosatu cannot win that battle with divisions. We have to root out divisions amongst ourselves, amongst our own unions, so that Cosatu and its unions, we are able to fight this battle. I want to come to the points at home. And the choice which this Congress is having is to fight for its own unity. It should be to unite our federation against our real enemies, which is the white monopoly capital. We are not enemies amongst ourselves here. Look to your colleague next to you. Tell him or her, you are not my enemy. Because once we understand that, once we appreciate that point, we shall then be able to stand united all the time. We shall differ. We shall differ in views now and again, as it is happening all the time. That does not mean we are therefore enemies. We should be able to reach out to that one you hold an extreme different view against and say to that person, comrade, come closer, maybe I will hear you better. We have to stand firm and say, I will not fear to speak to that one who holds a different view.
Yes, yes.
Comrades, this Special National Congress is taking place at the time when we just received the Falam Commission. Judge Falam was tasked to conduct an inquiry into matters of public, national and international concern arising out of the tragic incident at the Lone Min Mines in Marikana in Northwest from Saturday the 11th of August to Thursday 16 August in 2012. As Cosatu, we share the pain with the families of at least 60 people who were killed in the course of the Lone Min Impala disputes. They include 5 who were killed at Impala Platinum, 6 at Aquarius Platinum, and 47 at Lone Min Marikana. 10 were killed before the 16th of August, and 34 were killed on the 16th of August, and 3 were killed after the 16th of August, 2012. We want to say to the families of those who are affected, all of them, Cosatu is with you all the time. The findings of the Commission with regards to Lone Min attest to our view as Cosatu that Lone Min, like all other mining houses and capital in general, will always prioritize maximizing their profits at the expense of the lives of workers. The Commission's findings said that, on amongst others, Lone Min did not use its best endeavors to resolve the dispute that arose between itself and its workers, who participated in the unprotected strike on the one hand, and between the strikers and those workers who did not want to participate in the strike. It also notes Lone Min did not respond appropriately to the threat of and the outbreak of the violence. Lone Min also failed to employ sufficient safeguarding methods and measures to ensure the safety of its employees. That's what the Falam Commission is saying. So as Cosatu, we maintain our position that at the center of the tragic events that were unfolding at the time, it was purely and only about corporate greed at the expense of the lives of people. We should draw many lessons from that commission. But at the same time as we do so, as workers throughout the country, and I'm not talking about unions, we should be able to say, how best do we conduct ourselves during strikes? Should we carry sticks and pangas and guns during our strikes? I don't think so. Our strikes should depict our aspirations as we express our demands. We should be able to conduct our strikes in the manner that the message we're putting across is heard. And that shall not be only by when we're carrying dangerous weapons. If Cosatu does not send out this message, there is no other labor organization that will send this message. We must work on our resolution. We have a resolution as this Congress from 2012 to work, all of us, hand in hand with the National Union of the Mine Workers, which was the focal point of the attack at the time. And I've said elsewhere in their Congress, they have stood up, they are marching forward, building their organization. Let us work with them to work to strengthen the National Union of the Mine Workers. Let us work, all of us, to strengthen our unions. That resolution was coupled with the SATAU, because SATAU was at the same time under attack from AMCU, from NUMSA, whilst NUMSA was still with us, and from other forces who were key in understanding that if you dislodge the transport sector, you would have dislodged the economy of our country, and therefore SATAU was the target. So our resolution said, let's work with them. I'm reminded of that point this time around because we are currently focusing on the unity work within SATAU. And I can assure you, if we work together with all comrades in SATAU, and I can assure this Congress here, we are working very well with the national leadership. We just have to take the process to the sub-structures of the union and get everybody coalesced into one agenda of uniting the union. That resolution said we must work with FAO. At the time that resolution was passed, FAO was facing a battle, not just for a wage determination, but for the life of the sector. When it was fielding a range of attack from rogue farmers who are employers, attacking the farm dwellers and the farm workers. Katish will talk about the fisheries. You must remind me that, Katish. That campaign is very, very critical for Cosatu. Because if we mean genuine and serious unity amongst ourselves, we have to reach out and strengthen each other's unions. Let me say to this Congress, we, the national office bearers, previously have done some wrong things to our unions. We have exploited the divisions we find and the weaknesses we're finding in each union and got in there to try to pretend as if we're helping, yet we were going to exploit the weakness and work with the other side. It was wrong. It is wrong today. It will be wrong tomorrow. When we intervene in Cosatu unions, we should come in there objectively to assist to strengthen the union. In particular, those unions we view, they don't appreciate us or hold a different view from us. We will work with them direct and come inside and work with you to resolve the issues inside. That's the commitment we have going forward. Many of you are witnesses of that here. I can count you a few recent examples. Just a few ones. Just a few ones, if you allow me to do so. And when we come to assist in a union, we don't expect any returns other than the unity of that union. We do not even expect you to like us after we have come in to assist. We are doing our job. You know, when SAMU faces challenges of dissent from within the union, and we are called upon by either side to come in and help, we come in. And when we come in, we take the president and the national office bearers and we say, let's go to the hotspots where the challenges are of the union. And go and confront the issues that are affecting workers and help the union to deal with the situation it is facing and say all workers belong to SAMU. But if workers have chosen to work against SAMU, we shall work with SAMU. When Sakau is facing a challenge because of the Provident Fund issues, and they lose a case in court and they are supposed to pay the curator some money and they don't have the money and it's threatening the union, even when the union is standing outside, we will not say, no, but comrades, you must come back inside first before we can help you. We go there and we say, comrades, let's work on the solution. And we're doing so not expecting to be loved or liked by anybody. We are simply doing Cosatu work and getting that union united. When we come to Pop Crew, we come to Pop Crew not because we hold a tribal card. We're coming to help one of our own when we have perceptions. Even when we come inside and we find that, no, actually there was no problem here as we were told. The problem is something else. We don't run away. We said, let's walk together, Pop Crew, until we're at the level where everybody is satisfied. There is no problem in the union. When we spend hours and days in Rustenburg, NUM, sharing a view and taking forward a resolution of this federation that NUM is under attack from a vigilante union, we go and work with the leadership. We spend hours there, despite the fact that some Abafundi Sabanye were advising against peace. Something very strange. So we would walk the miles with you, go to the deepest ends where it is more dangerous, and say, Matosa, President Zogwana, Nobala Spoons, Franz Balen at the time, let's indeed walk this journey. It's not an easy one. We shall conquer at the end of the day. We're doing so. We do that not because we expect you to love us or like us. We're doing our job. We're not coming in there to say we will help that region and not that region and divide your union. We're coming into NUM, which is one union under Cosatu, to help the union. We must work together with COO, Communication Workers Union, and tell MTN, you are a rogue employer, MTN. You are an insensitive employer. How do you allow workers for 7 weeks on a strike that is not resolved and allow the leadership of the union to be dealing with that situation and you are not responding properly? We are promising you, Clyde, we're coming with you there, with your national leadership. We're going with you to the post office, and we say we cannot lose that post office purely because management has failed to manage it properly. The list goes on and on and on. But the point we are making here, the leadership of Cosatu and their work to intervene in the work of affiliates cannot be looked with suspicion. If it is the conduct of us as leaders here on how we intervene, tell us, like you told us Sat one day, that at some point our intervention was biased and we listened to that. We are coming in to strengthen one another and not to weaken one another. Deputy President Chocho says, and I quote, if someone gives you a gift, don't open the gift and look into the mouth of the gift and say, where are the other teeth? Accept the gift that you are given in good faith. So we come to you with one resolve, leaders. My presidents of all the Cosatu unions, we have no hidden agenda. And I must say to the workers here, because we are workers, ngibatshelile ukuthi angisiyo umkokotelo we-shop steward, ngiyi-shop steward. Kunosihlalo wami we-branch ulapha yala ihleli khona. Thina basebenzi are the ones who let things loose. We members, we have abdicated our responsibilities in the organization. We have handed over the organization to the General Secretary because we believe he's full-time in the office. And we have created a problem. Ngiyazi ke kuzawuvuka impilo kube o-General Secretary ngapha balwe kube abasebenzi ngapha balwe. Siyawubona ukuthi kuzawuwina abantu, kuzawuwina abasebenzi. The point I'm making is, when we fail to observe our duty as shop stewards, we allowed a situation where we did not provide the leadership we are supposed to be providing. And things have gone wrong. I'm not saying go and fight your General Secretary. You can't, because you will not win. If you wage a fight against a General Secretary, you won't win. That's why I've never picked a fight with my General Secretary. You don't win in all aspects. But the danger that is created is that we allow individuals to grow and become bigger than the organization. Then the problem emerges. Take over your organizations and do the right things, guided by the founding principles of Cosatu and your specific organization. Then there shall be no fights in office. There's definitely not going to be a fight, because we shall all understand what our roles are in the organization. Today, as I'm drawing close to because it's all full, we have come here to discuss about strengthening the alliance. And I must report to this Congress, we have just emerged from a very successful, powerful alliance summit, which has shown the line. The line is clear. First thing, we are going to provinces and have provincial alliance summits. We must take them down to regional alliance summits. We must ensure that all the comrades in the alliance participate in accepting or in discussing what was the declaration of the recent alliance summit. Hayi ke ngizwile ukuthi khona abanye ababhalile bathi leya alliance summit ayikhulumanga ngama-labor broker, ayikhulumanga ngama-e-tolls, nani. Hayi comrades kahleni. Please be honest. even when you were part of those alliance summits, you discuss specific issues. But it is worse than when you then want to criticize us because we are not part of that summit, we are outside, and then you say that summit didn't do good. Give me Isanda as a case of sour grapes. Allow me to say this, because we are talking unity, and yesterday we spent time of Congress 9 hours, and later on some hour or so, almost 10 to 11 hours debating on issues that were confronting us and that people had views on. Let's dispel this thing. Those who are saying there can be no unity in Cosatu without Stumo, they are wrong. Those who say there can be no unity in Cosatu without NUM, they are wrong. Because once you approach unity in that fashion, you have then removed the organization Cosatu and have put the individual at the center and believing that unity can only be unity when that individual is part of the discussion. No way. The danger we've created, which has led to us having to expel one of our affiliates. We have allowed, you see, God, the fact that you are the biggest union now should not get into your head and make you believe that you are Cosatu yourself. It should not make you to believe that any other leader nor any other union is a less factor in the organization. All the Cosatu unions have been admitted following the constitution of Cosatu based on the membership they have, just as you have been. And you have grown your union to be over 370,000. Thanks to you for that, but it does not make you wiser than everybody. That's why we had to reach a decision to expel one of us. That's exactly that. They know that we said to them, comrades, please allow us time to engage internally with your issues from your own special national congress. They refused. They told us straight in the face that you have no right to make us discuss or change our congress positions. We said, but those resolutions we have taken, some are in conflict with the Constitution of the Federation, in particular, one industry, one union. Please, let's talk about that. They said, no. Comrade Snumsa was given an ample time. Not just the 2.5 hours that they were given to present on the 7th of November 2014. They were given a solid 18 months to review their positions. They refused. Blame us then. And say we've expelled 360,000 members. No, we didn't do that. We protected Cosatu unions against cannibalization by other or one other Cosatu union. If they change their ways and come back and say we've changed, this Congress would have no doubt to say at the next Congress we'll listen to their case. Now, I've seen this document that I've seen recently. Authored, it's not a leaked document or of some spy who was sitting in a meeting and taking notes of what Congress were discussing. The the full report of what comrades were discussing, written by themselves, planning against this Congress, planning against Cosatu. That is one union who says in public, we want to come back to Cosatu, but Stumo is refusing to get us to come back to Cosatu. When they have resolved that they want to break this Cosatu into pieces, in their document, they go to America, they go to Belgium, soliciting funding for destroying this Cosatu. I think, Congress, you must say no to that. And as we say no to that, we must free our unions. We must free those unions who are still held by that which calls themselves their allies. There is nothing like NUMSA allies, my comrade. There is Cosatu unions here. Free yourself. Set yourself free from that. Set yourself free from that. You can't be an affiliate of another affiliate or of another union. It doesn't work that way. So when we make that call, NUM, because I've listened to you making the same call but slightly different. It's a call that says Cosatu unions must come together and defend the Cosatu they have, defend the founding principles of Cosatu, and ensure that they protect Cosatu from any other form of an attack. NUMSA is attacking us, my comrade. That union is attacking Cosatu, and we are embracing it and hoping it will change. At the moment, they are not showing any sign of changing. They are actually planning to destroy this Cosatu. You should decide what you want to do. Sanchi. Free yourself. South Africa is a free country. You cannot get yourself to be a slave of another union, of Cosatu or outside Cosatu. Free yourself. South Africa is a free country. We beg you. Free yourself. Free yourself. I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you don't heed that call, if you do not heed that call, do not then blame any other person, but blame yourself. The opportunity is obvious, it is open. From today, free yourself, go back to the CEC of Cosatu, argue your differences there. Even if we vote, do not run away from the vote. It's a democratic process. Free yourself. So, Comrade Chair, I want to sit down. This Congress is for you to debate Cosatu and not debate individuals who are outside of Cosatu. So, Babona Pambi. This Congress is about Cosatu at the center, our own unity. This Congress is about defending the alliance as we know it, as we have it, led by the ANC, led by the SACP, led by Sanko. This is what we have as workers in this country. Let us be free. We are not slaves in our own home. You are free here. This Congress is truly open. Thank you very much.
very much, comrades. Thank you very much, comrades. Time is against us. Please. Thank you, comrades. Amanda. 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 Thank you very much, comrades. Amanda! Amanda! Viva Cosatu, viva! Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you very much. Okay. Comrade, at this point, Bopa, comrade, Bopa, time is against us, please. Bopa Tinosa, Bopa Fau. Comrade, at this point, I'm going to invite the President of Cosatu to take over the chair of the Congress. And I want to declare to you and the President that I am the first one to be free from anyone.
Thank you very much, Mongameli. Can we then sit down so that the meeting proceeds? I said yesterday it is dangerous to sing alone when everybody is sitting down. You're getting exposed. Save those comrades. Can we all sit down, please? Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. We are proceeding, comrades. Manja. Manja. Viva Cosatu, viva. Viva NC, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Thank you very much. We shall now proceed with the program. We are proceeding with the program. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Deputy President, for holding the fort yesterday and today. Let us now get messages of support. We are racing against time indeed, and I'm sure our alliance leaders indeed do appreciate that, because today is the last day And we must quickly get into the work of Congress, which will be to discuss at plenary our document on unity and cohesion of our organization. We now shall call upon, and we must give him a resounding revolutionary song, the president of SANCO, Comrade Richard Mdagane. Sishingo. Hila lihlathini wenyamazana. Hila lihlathini inyamazana. Ai wenyamazana. Ai wenyamazana.
Amandla. Amandla. Long live Cosatu, long live. Long live the ANC, long live. Long live the South African Communist Party, long live. Long live SANCO, long live. All power to the people. Malbongwe. Malbongwe. Lamapuskas. Comrade, the President of Cosatu, Comrade Tumotlamini, office bearers of Cosatu, and members of the Central Executive Committee of Cosatu. The National Chairperson of the ANC, Umamu Balegambet. The Deputy National Chairperson of the South African Communist Party, Utulas Mwaisi. Members of National Executive Committees of all our alliance structures, fellow revolutionaries, comrades and friends. We would like to thank you most sincerely for giving SANCO the opportunity to give our message of support to this special National Congress of Cosatu, convened to deal with the critical challenges facing our labor movement. Cosatu is our labor movement. Even if I'm not a worker, but I know that Cosatu is my labor movement. Comrade Chairperson, this National Congress takes place 4 days before the birthday of one of the most revered revolutionaries, the founding president of a democratic South Africa, Istwalandwe Siparangwe Utata Nelson Mandela. He may be gone, his legacy and principle live within us forever. One of those principles is a unity and cohesion of the liberation movement. The theme that informs the work of this special National Congress, I quote, building unity and cohesion of Cosatu to advance the national democratic revolution. I close quote, correctly presumed that workers have the ability to identify the root causes of the problems and accordingly work out the most effective ways and means to fight it. We all of us are agreed about the negative results of divisions on the lives of ordinary workers and their families. SANCO is mindful of the immense responsibility placed on shoulders of this leadership collective of Cosatu in fighting for the improvement of working conditions of workers throughout the country. Hence, SANCO is here to support you in your drive to rebuild, strengthen, and unite Cosatu. As we face the current problems, we must at all times remind ourselves that Cosatu is a federation of trade unions whose foundation is built on the principles of democratic centralism, majority decision-making, worker control, and organizational discipline. We are here with you today to pledge our solidarity and give our unwavering support to you, fellow revolutionaries, and say that as SANCO we have gone through these difficulties in our recent times. And we are certain that the leadership of Cosatu is capable of resolving these challenges. The real misfortunes lies in the fact that there are comrades who used to lead Cosatu who are now turning against it, who have distorted and perverted the real essence of what it means to be a disciplined revolutionary. We have gathered here today from all corners of our country because together we understand the simple reason that divisions benefit our opponent and our enemies. As workers used to say in 1970s, that united we stand, divided we fall. The Alliance have an obligation properly to understand the cause of these divisions in all our organizations and to fight them in all their form and manifestations as we enter the more radical second phase of our national democratic revolution. We need to seize this opportunity provided by the Special National Congress of Cosatu, constructively to strengthen all our alliance organizations. And we need to carry out our historic revolutionary duty to defeat poverty, unemployment, and inequality. We must also be mindful of the challenges facing workers and community on the ground. Public transport remains a challenge, and recent event in Mamelodi demonstrate that as a country we need to move with speed, improving our public transport system in former township and rural areas. We do understand the position of Cosatu on e-tolls, though SANCO takes a user pay principle. We hope that as two leaders of the civil society in the Alliance, we'll have more time to meet and discuss many challenges facing the civil society. We welcome the decision by NESA to refuse ESCOM request to increase electricity tariffs. We need to embark on joint programs of linking workers and community struggling as we used to do in 1970s and 1980s. It is because of this experience that SANCO called upon workers to lead in the formation of street committees, village committees, and other mass-based program of action. The implication of the tasks that we outlined in our Alliance Summit will need the maximum support, attention, and full participation of a united Cosatu, a united SANCO, a united SACP, a united ANC and its leagues. SANCO is confident that Cosatu will overcome its challenges and continue to be a reliable defender of workers' interests in our country. We are certain that millions of workers here and abroad are waiting to hear the good resolution coming out of this National Special Congress. SANCO is confident that this leadership of Cosatu is driven by one desire, the desire to unite all the workers in our country and to defend their interests. We are looking forward with keen interest the outcome of this Special National Congress of Cosatu, and we have no reason to doubt that Cosatu will rise to the occasion. As I conclude, on behalf of SANCO and his entire membership, I wish the Special National Congress a success in its deliberation, and we thank you, comrade. The struggle continues until we attain the total emancipation of all our people. Workers must remain united for 1,000 years to come, because without unity, we will be unable to defeat our strategic enemy, as far as I know, monopoly capital. All of us, we must work together in all corners of our country. We believe that Cosatu has this capacity to mobilize all the workers. We must therefore work together to ensure that we defeat all our enemies and move forward to better the living conditions of all South Africans, black and white, in order for us to build a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and a prosperous country. Amandla!
Thank you very much, President Mdagane. You have given us courage with your words of wisdom, words of encouragement. Now we shall call upon the stage the Speaker from the South African Communist Party, the Deputy Chairperson, Comrade Thulas Nxesi.
Viva Cosatu, viva! Viva the ANC, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Viva the SACP, viva! Forward to the unit of the workers, forward! Down with divisions in Cosatu, down! The President of Cosatu, the leadership of Cosatu from all the affiliates, the leadership and the representatives of the alliance partners, the ANC led by the national chairperson, Sanko by the president, and of course the SACP led by Comrade Solima Pail, our second deputy general secretary. The former leaders, the founding leaders of Cosatu, comrade delegates, and all the comrades who are here. Allow me to convey the revolutionary greetings from the Central Committee of the South African Communist Party, newly invigorated from our own special Congress. I want to thank Cosatu for this opportunity to share ideas. And I want to repeat the pledge of our General Secretary that Cosatu can depend on the support of the SACP as a reliable ally. A reliable ally in good times and when the going gets tough. I need to emphasize this point, because not all comrades are reliable. For 3 decades, a former finance minister operated at the high level of the alliance. Indeed, he was a creation of the same alliance. During that time, not once did he raise his misgivings with the SACP and the alliance. Only now does he run into the capitalist media to recycle the old stories based on outdated information. This smacks of either cowardice or duplicity. Comrades, we must be aware what we termed as the 1996 class project. Its tendencies are still alive and does try to exploit the tensions within our movement in order to stage a comeback. At the right time, we will respond in detail in that article in the City Press. Not today. This Congress is taking place just a few weeks after the Freedom Day, the 26th June. That date may not mean much to the younger people, but to the older people present will remember that In the years before 1994 elections, June 6 or June 26 was known internationally as the South African Freedom Day. It has a long and a proud history. Beginning in the 50s with the national protest against the repression of apartheid government and the slaughter of the people taking part in the May Day March organized by the then Communist Party of South Africa. In 1952, the ANC launched the Defiance Campaign on June 26. In 1955, the Freedom Charter was adopted on the 26th of June. Comrades should also remember, in December, Cosatu will celebrate 30 years of proud and militant history of struggle. I mention this, comrades, because I want us all to remember the proud political tradition we're coming from. The leaders that came before and those who fought and sacrificed so that we might know freedom. And the long years of political struggle that have brought us, or that have brought us to where we are today, we have a duty to fight to defend the tradition of the Freedom Charter. We have to fight against the onslaught of monopoly capital and neoliberalism, which is designed to undermine the labor organization. We have to fight against the right wing, the anti-majoritarian media attacks on our movement. We have to fight against the confusion spread by the ultra-left opportunist. We have to fight against the onslaught on Cosatu, and in particular the mighty NUM, even attacks by some amongst us, instead of exposing the vigilante unionism which mobilized through the reign of terror and violence against the NUM in the Platinum Belt. Comrades, in considering the organizational challenges facing the Alliance, let me warn against what I call the 7 dangers that are applicable to all of us as the Alliance organizations. What I also call the fatal organizational weaknesses. And these are the danger of social distance and isolation from our own mass base, the danger of the state bureaucratization and demobilization of the masses, the danger of corruption and patronage, the danger of institutionalized factionalism, ill-discipline and disunity, fueled and inspired by the battles over the control of the state power and resources, the danger of using state institutions to settle internal party differences, the danger of neglecting cadre development, and the danger of lack of capacity and capability to implement the policies in order to rapidly improve the socio-economic conditions of our people. Comrades, I want to emphasize this one. Leaders in all organizations, whether it's the ANC, the SACP, SANCO, or even Cosatu, leaders come and go. Comrades, when I'm talking about these weaknesses, this analysis was done with the ANC in mind by the same factional and incorrect behavior as permeated through the Alliance. Most seriously within Cosatu, even the SACP is not immune. What do we do, or what do these organizational challenges mean to us as the leadership and the cadres of the Alliance? I believe that the very organizational dangers, these fatal weaknesses I'm talking about, require true comrades or true cadres who have to stand up and be counted on a practical level on issues of corruption. As the Alliance, we have to be the first to expose and condemn corruption in all its forms. If we are seen to be indecisive on this crucial matter of corruption, then the wrong forces, opportunists from the right and the left, will fill in the vacuum. Hence, today we are told about a million march against corruption by forces we do not know. One of the causes of the divisions in the labor movement is what we have called business unionism. Union leaders fighting over business opportunities and perks. Comrades, step away from those tenders. If you hold political office, you have no business being in business, especially where there's a conflict of interest. As the party congress, we discussed this matter, and the view was reduce outsourcing and tenders, particularly at all government levels, where possible simply employ people directly or work with cooperatives. This would be in the areas such as security maintenance of the roads, the buildings, and even the feeding schemes. Currently, divisions which are permeating into our structures, they start with the tenders and they feed into our own structures. Because of this tendering of the state, this is a danger, comrade, which Cosatu must debate. Secondly, as leadership, we must be in the forefront of the mass work and the task of political education. You can never be too busy or too important to undertake this task. We have to reassert the tactics and the strategy of mass mobilization and campaigns, tactics which made our organization strong in the past. The whole Cosatu and affiliate leadership together with all the sub-steward must move out of the boardroom to the ground in the branches and locals to address ordinary members, to liberate them from misinformation, emotional lies, the demon of tribalism which other people are using, and regionalism, which is being used to confuse our people. Billions of rands of the union investment must be used to strengthen a massive organizing program in political education. You are not being contested in the boardroom. Move out of the boardroom, but you must go to the ground. Therefore, move to the ground where the workers are. On the issue of political education, the Party Congress called for a comprehensive political education of members and also proposed joint education with Cosatu in the first instance, which could later extend or be extended across the alliance as a whole. Comrades, we need to interrogate how we behave towards other comrades. Where we have differences, we deal with these through the tradition of open and robust political debate. But when a movement, or when as a movement, we take a decision, then we work together as one to implement that decision or that program. This, comrade, put simple, is the meaning of democratic centralism. We can debate and differ. Once we have taken a decision, whether through vote or consensus, all of us must go and implement. As a priority, we have to nurture, we have to protect, strengthen, and defend the unity of our organizations and the broader alliance. Let us never forget that it was this mighty alliance which brought down the apartheid regime. It remains the only vehicle capable of defending the gains of the National Democratic Revolution and taking us forward into the second, more radical phase. Let me speak briefly about challenges facing the labor movement. The challenges facing the labor movement are many and varied. And for this, let me just draw up from the discussion of the Communist Party, which says meeting the challenges facing the trade union movement. This was published June this year in the African Communist. We've said at a structural level since the late 20th century there has been a massive onslaught by capital against the labor movement, associated with the capitalist globalization and neoliberalism. The resulting restructuring of production processes and labor markets has pushed back the gains of the trade unions through the mass retrenchments, casualization, informalization, and the labor brokers. Meanwhile, monopoly capital, aided and abetted by the 1996 Class Project, was able to maximize its profits and minimize its contribution to the development of South Africa through a number of strategies: massive disinvestment, foreign stock exchange listings, tax evasions, restructuring of the production processes and the labor markets. And there was a loss of thousands of jobs. Some of the other challenges faced by the labor movement include the growing bureaucratization and distance from the members. As unions become larger and focus energy on running the organization rather than organizing the members. And Comrade President, you are right. Why do we have so many shop stewards, but servicing is not increasing in our members? Why are we bureaucratizing the union? Why are we spending a lot of money having full-time shop steward, but on servicing we're not doing well? This is a challenge we have to deal with. Careerism and abuse of positions for personal gain, also resulting in personality cult, so that individuals become more important than organization, and loyalty to particular leaders of faction replaced by loyalty to the organization and the movement. The greatest danger of all is the advent of what we have called business unionism. Let me quote from our discussion paper in the African Communist. The major unions all have nominal control of the multi-billion rand retirement funds. These in turn have been leveraged to set up union investment arms. In principle, if subjected to democratic worker control and guided by clear strategic objectives, these investment arms have the potential to be a critical pillar of the solidarity economy, investing, for instance, in desperately needed social wage assets like affordable public transport and public housing. Sadly, in practice, they've often become entry points through which the capitalist class has inserted its DNA in the head offices of many unions. Much of the recent turmoil, even within Cosatu affiliates, is to be located in the competing factions seeking control of these resources. This is destroying the unions, comrades. Therefore, comrades, as you discuss in this Cosatu Special Congress, I've no doubt that you will be addressing many of the sub-themes which have been raised. The back-to-basics call in relation to the organization which Cosatu has made. The optimal functional of the tripartite alliance, which must include developing an effective joint program of action, including in between elections. We cannot be an alliance only for the elections. We must be a living alliance even between the elections. On this, comrades, the Alliance Summit process, as indicated by Comrade Mdagane, is taking us forward. We have said that Provincial Alliance Summit, working together with the Alliance Political Council, will debate and develop concrete programs or joint programs of action for the Alliance. And as Cosatu, you must use this opportunity to raise the challenges so that instead of infighting, we begin to focus on the real issues facing the working class. The triple crisis of unemployment, poverty and inequality, corruption, transformation of the economy, the deepening of the democracy and the NTR. Engaging and building organic links with the social movement and the working class communities through branches, shop steward councils, and local organs of people's power, so that we break out the 1996 class project, bureaucratic top-down delivery model of transformation. When I refer to the social movement, I mean the real social movement. Comrades, you must understand, there are NGOs and NGOs, not those who are funded from outside by their handlers to work for regime change. Taking up the issues that affect the working class communities, e.g., the indebtedness, climate or crime and drugs, transport, health, housing, social services, holding an ANC government to account whilst driving a pro-working class agenda and supporting progressive forces. That would include holding to account those comrades whom you released as Cosatu and the SACP to Parliament and reminding them why they are there. Holding those comrades and the ANC to account doesn't mean that you have to be reckless and play into the media to be a fan of the media in attacking the ANC, and you think that you are holding people to account. As I move towards closing, President, I want to conclude by reminding ourselves that a strong labor movement, historically, has gone hand in hand with the powerful and the effective alliance. So the factionalist allegations that the ANC and the SACP want a weak, compliant Cosatu and that the SACP is somehow responsible for the divisions in the federation. Nothing could be further from the truth. Look at the history, comrades. It was after the liberal elements had purged communists from the Industrial and the Commercial Workers Union, the ICU, comrades of the caliber of Jimila Kuma, John Gomas and E.J. Khaile, that the once mighty ICU went into terminal decline. If you think that you will purge the communists, it's at your own peril. History tells us that. But, comrades, the party then, which was called the Communist Party of South Africa, also learned the lessons of the ICU. One of the weaknesses was its general union style of organization as one big union. So when communist activists organized the Federation of the Non-European Trade Unions in the late 1920s, it was along the lines of industrial unionism, that is one industry, one union. 60 years before Cosatu came up with the slogan in 1985. The same organizing principle was used in the formation of the mighty Council of the Non-European Trade Unions in the 1940s. And the South African African Congress of Trade Unions, SACP, in the 1950s. Ironically, the same principle of industrial unionism guided the workers' tendency in the formation of Cosatu, the Federation of the South African Trade Unions. So NUMSA leadership, I believe they were not correct to unilaterally ditch this historic principle. Whatever the merits of the value chain unionism, we still need to have that debate. But it must be a principled debate which seeks to strengthen the trade union movement as a whole, not to seek selfish and factional advantage. In the face of anti-party factional sentiments expressed, I need to assert the historical truth that at every stage of development of the progressive unionism, whether legally or illegally, from underground, communists have been in the forefront of organizing and building the progressive trade union or trade unionism. Conversely, trade unions have brought their actual experience of class struggle to strengthen the leadership of the party. From Bill Andrews, elected to the leadership in 1921, to our recently returned comrades, J.B. Marx and Moses Kotana, to Ray Alexander, to Moses Mabita, billionaire Liz Abrams, to the Matayat Vuisilemini, too many to mention. That is the point I'm trying to make, comrades. The labor movement, the SACP and the ANC, historically, have always been strong when they are united and when the alliance is effective. That unity is seen or is the lesson first enunciated in the Black Republic thesis put forward by the party in the late 20s, but which has to be constantly fought for and defended over 90 years. That unity within Cosatu, which always included the different political tendencies, served us well for 30 years. As the left, united as Cosatu and the SACP, working with comrades in the wider alliance, this unity allowed us the following gains. Entrench worker rights in the labor legislation after 1994. Stop privatization agenda in the late 1990s. And comprehensively contain the wider class project. I would argue further that at the level of government in key areas of economic policy, we have seen significant shifts to the left in the last administration, which are in line with the long-held approach of Cosatu, particularly the new economic growth path, the development of the clear industrial strategy, EPAP, the National Infrastructure Plan. I would argue that this raft of policies and concrete plans amount to a strategy to sustainable and inclusive economic growth with massively positive implications for job creation and poverty reduction. The position that sees little difference between the ANC and DA is very dangerous talk. In a situation where labor is divided and weakened, the ANC-led alliance is a major impediment to the relentless pressure from capital for the so-called labor market flexibility. There's only one beneficiary of a divided labor movement. It's monopoly capital. If this Cosatu breaks, those who are sowing divisions, who is going to benefit? It's not going to be the ordinary workers. It is going to be monopoly capital. That unity of which I speak, of labor and of the alliance, remains the only strategy and the only vehicle capable of taking us into the second, more radical phase of our transition to democracy and giving concrete content to that. Comrades, that should be the real debate, not about individuals. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Deputy Chair. Just a few announcements. Someone removed a cell phone of a Nehau delegate at the clothing stalls outside. May that comrade in possession of this phone bring it to the table. Now, that phone is wanted. God, I have a phone here, and it's a very busy phone. I've asked the person who is calling, who is the owner of this phone. And they've told me it's Leletu or Leleti, who works in some area, lies in committee or office. We have that phone here. So please come and collect the phone. That's the first announcement. The second one, which we felt that this Congress must be aware of, because we have been holding it from yesterday, after consultation with the family of the President of the National Union of the Mine Workers. We indeed are quite sad to inform Congress that, as you could notice if you haven't, the President of the Union, Comrade Pete Matosa, is not here. He was here leading the delegation of the Union. But just before he could come here, he received the sad news that his son, Lunga Matosa, also a member of the National Union of the Mine Workers working at Delmas Colliery, has passed on in a car accident yesterday. And we send our condolences to him, to the union, but to his family. As this Congress, we are with him. Talking to him, he was saying how he misses to be in this Congress, but was happy that the collective leadership of the union and the delegates of NUM are here representing the union. So we send our condolences. The second good news, because it's a product of our own engagement, we just received information, and I'm sure the SSN has confirmed this information, which is exciting, that the Swaziland Appeal Court released on bail the president of Pudemo, Comrade Mario Masuku. And we want to encourage the president of Pudemo and the fighting comrades there for their liberation, and his family that has been with him. You would know that Comrade Mario has been now has been in jail for over 2 years now. Even when he was not well, he could not be given his treatment by the authorities there, and it was quite very, very, very tough for the family and him in particular. So we're saying thank you that achievement is there, but it's he's released on bail, the struggle therefore continues for the release of all political prisoners in Swaziland, but also for people of Swaziland to be free also. We want to, comrades, without any waste of time, invite the speaker from the leader of the alliance. Thank you very much, Comrade Tulas, for again building words in this Congress. We are better than before when you spoke. But we are now inviting the chairperson of the ANC, Comrade Gallagher, to come and address Congress, a message of support. Duma, 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 Aya, Duma, Ella Duma, it's Duma.
Comrade President, kuyashisa la namhlanje. Thank you, Comrade President of Cosatu. The leadership of our tried and tested alliance partner, Cosatu. Delegates from various Cosatu-affiliated unions, basebenzi, and our most dependable ally in the struggle to improve the conditions of our people. Thank you for allowing us to stand here to convey our warmest fraternal greetings to this special Congress. On behalf of the National Executive Committee of the ANC and its entire membership, including those who are sitting here. In this year of celebrating 60 years of the Freedom Charter, we will also be celebrating 30 years of Cosatu later on in the year. We will mark as well a number of critical points and moments that we dare not forget in the journey we have traveled as partners for the struggle for the freedom of our people. We salute those who formed the first National General Workers Union for Black Workers in 1919, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union. From the early days of the ANC, it was committed to the plight of workers who had been ruthlessly plunged after the dispossession of land by our colonizers and exploiters into being workers on mines and farms. After, of course, the ruthless land dispossession, including through the 1913 Land Act. We must also acknowledge the place and role of the South African Congress of Trade Unions, SACP, which was formed in March 1955 and was the predecessor of this Congress of South African Trade Unions, Cosatu. The SACP slogan for fostering solidarity and unity of workers was, and I quote, "An injury to one is an injury to all." That call remains to this day. SACP took a conscious decision to include the word Congress in its name, to identify itself with the Congress movement. Proudly, this about to be 30-year-old successor, Cosatu, has continued the tradition because in its name it starts with Congress of South African Trade Unions, to identify itself with the Congress movement. So those who are uncomfortable with remaining here in the Congress movement, Mabasonde, the Suzoba massage, then maybe they'll find a good space. SACP was part of a national council that organized the Congress of the People, which met in Kliptown and adopted the clauses of the Freedom Charter. This highlights the historical fact that the workers played a crucial role as individuals all over South Africa, but also in their specific formations and affiliates. Over the decades, the individual alliance organizations have supported one another and have kept this alliance strong for South Africa. In case people didn't know, South Africa needs the alliance. South Africa needs a strong and a united alliance. Comrades, I want to just quote a paragraph from the declaration of the recent Alliance Summit. The national leadership structures of the African National Congress, the South African Communist Party, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, and the South African National Civic Organizations met over 5 days from 27th June till the 1st of July 2015. One of the issues which came up during the summit that I want to take this opportunity to clarify was around how we relate to one another, in particular when it came to the recent developments and challenges in Cosatu, for example. In this regard, we had, because we were having very, very honest debates in that summit, but very healthy debates. I want to quote directly from the declaration again that the independence of Cosatu as a strong, militant, and fighting force for the rights of workers is affirmed. It goes on to say, the summit also affirms its support of the right of Cosatu to make its own decisions concerning internal discipline. In other words, the issue was about a rumor that maybe the ANC was trying to ram down the throat of Cosatu certain approaches on issues affecting the internal discipline of Cosatu. And the clarification that had to be given was that as a committed ally, the ANC, and of course the leader of the alliance, the ANC was in fact responsible, has the responsibility to be honest in its inputs, in its engagements with Cosatu. But being honest and stating your views very honestly and very clearly is different from forcing your ally to take a particular direction. So it's important for this to be understood. 1973 was a turning point that ushered a new phase of trade union activism and led to the formation of many black trade unions in South Africa after the brutal crushing of SACP in the 60s. Indeed, the actions of the Durban, Pinetown, and Pietermaritzburg workers in 1973 created the conditions that ultimately led to the formation of Cosatu in 1985. The ANC is a multi-class organization with a very strong bias towards the working class and the poor. We have always regarded the working class as the principal motive force of our struggle. None of the alliance partners can be strong standing on their own. We either strengthen the alliance or risk being rendered irrelevant by neoliberal and counter-revolutionary forces. United, we will confront any threat posed by counter-revolutionary forces. Divided, we shall fall in one heap like a house of cards. Let us heed the wise counsel of the former president of our movement, Comrade O.R. Tambo, when he spoke at the 60th anniversary of the South African Communist Party in 1981. He said, and I quote, "Ours is not merely a paper alliance created at conference tables and formalized through the signing of documents and representing only an agreement of leaders." Remember what was just said, leaders will come and go. Organizations are what will take the values around which organizations are formed forward. Our alliance is a living organism that has grown out of struggle. We have built it out of our own separate common experiences. It has been fertilized by the blood of the countless heroes. Many of them are unnamed and unsung. Comrade O.R. Tambo indicated that though our organizations are not the same, our history has shown that we are a powerful force because our organizations are mutually reinforcing. In the same address, Comrade O.R. further indicated that the ANC is quite capable of influencing its alliance partners and equally being liable to be influenced by its alliance partners. Comrade O.R. went further to say, within our revolutionary alliance, each organization has a distinct and vital role to play. A correct understanding of these roles and respect for their boundaries has ensured the survival and consolidation of our cooperation and unity. Comrades, we need a strong labor federation that will fight for the interests of workers. We don't need a Cosatu that amounts to a labor desk of the ANC. The leadership and entire membership of the ANC has been disturbed greatly by the acrimonious discord within Cosatu in recent times. And I might add, including in the past 24 hours. None of the alliance partners and its membership can take pride in the disunity threatening to tear apart our beloved trade union federation. When Cosatu hurts, the ANC feels pain too. Therefore, it was not possible that the leadership of the ANC could fold their hands and observe our most dependable ally in struggle facing major organizational challenges that had potential to destroy the very existence of the federation. That's why the National Executive Committee of the ANC mandated a task team led by the Deputy President of the ANC to do everything possible that may assist the leadership of the Federation to close ranks and resolve these organizational challenges. The ANC leadership will continue with this task of assisting the Federation in whatever way possible. We are encouraged by the fact that the meeting of the Special Central Executive Committee of the Federation held on the 25th to the 27th May 2015 resolved to implement the recommendations of the ANC task team. The recommendations include, amongst others, the cessation of hostilities, managing differences of opinions within the Federation, and identifying areas of broad consensus as contained in the resolutions of the Federation itself. We cannot afford to trade insults publicly and assume that it strengthens our position. On the contrary, it lowers our position in society and our standing among forces of the left. We need to express our differences among each other in a mature and disciplined manner and within the confines of the Federation. Comrades, as the ANC, we attach great significance to this special Congress. As the discussions and resolutions of this conference will have far-reaching implications to the political and economic trajectory of our country. We have arrived at this view after considering the historical role played by Cosatu in influencing developments in this country. Cosatu, SACP, and ANC once met in Lusaka on the 5th and 6th March in 1986 to reflect on the developments in South Africa at that point. Comrade O.R. Tambo led the ANC delegation. The three organizations released a communique after their meeting, committing themselves, amongst others, to fight for a society free from the chains of poverty, racism, and exploitation, which would require the restructuring of the South African economy. The commitments made by these three organizations in 1986 can only be achieved through a united and formidable alliance. The structure and ownership patterns in the South African economy have to be changed for us to build social cohesion, eradication of poverty, and inequality. The current structure of the South African economy is characterized by a low skills base, high income inequality, energy supply constraints, and racially distorted ownership patterns. The global economic crisis has worsened the triple challenge of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. These challenges can only be tackled by a capable developmental state. Workers play a critical role in the building of a developmental state and in ensuring inclusive economic growth. Therefore, there is an expectation from all South Africans that trade unions should be at the center of the building of the capacity of the state. Equally, there is also an expectation that the trade union movement must assist the developmental state to implement a radical industrial policy. Comrades, the recent Alliance Summit also noted that indicators on poverty, employment, unemployment, and inequality show that women still bear the brunt of exclusion. Let us all seek to understand what this means for our respective organizations and commit to addressing this negative phenomenon. Similarly, we have to engage our Progressive Youth Alliance and mobilize our young people in campuses, schools, villages, towns, and cities so that they carry the baton of liberation and prosperity not only for themselves but for future generations, as bequeathed to us by our departed leaders and our elders still among us. Comrades, the Alliance partners have to play a critical role in strengthening the local sphere of government. The challenges we face at local level require the attention of all progressive forces. We need to ensure that the local government delivers quality services to our people. In conclusion, let us stand ready to defend the revolutionary gains made by our federation, Cosatu, our alliance, and our government. Let us not forsake our post and neglect our responsibility to build unity among progressive forces. Comrades, we must emerge from this special Congress united and ready more than ever to defend the interests of the working class and the gains they have secured through struggle. Comrades, you are standing, we all are. We are standing on the shoulders of great giants who preceded us. Let us not render irrelevant and unworthy the contributions made by Elijah Bahai, John Gomomo, Chris Dlamini, Oscar Mpeta, Ray Alexandra Simons. I always wonder sometimes what she is thinking, where she is. Mama Shinini, Dora Tamana, Moses Mabida, Uncle Kotane, Uncle J.B. Marx, Edwin Mofutsanyane, Billy Ne, Neil Agat, Stephen Dlamini, and countless others who paid the supreme price in building and defending this federation. Indeed, comrades, you are standing on the shoulders of great giants who fought for the unity and interests of workers. You dare not fail. There is no room for failure. History will never forgive you if you fail. You must emerge united and victorious. And we, your allies, your tried and tested allies, will always be with you. Long live the fighting spirit of Elijah Bahai, long live. Long live. Long live the fighting spirit of John Komomo, long live. Long live. Long live the fighting spirit of Chris Dlamini, long live. Long live. Long live Cosatu, the tried and tested Federation of the Workers, long live. Long live. Long live the Alliance, long live. Long live. Amandla. Matla. Realebuga.
Amandla ngawethu webasebenzi. Amandla ngawethu webasebenzi. Ngoba kudala osisebenzela amala webasebenzi. Ngoba kudala osisebenzela amala webasebenzi. Ilizwe ngelethu webasebenzi. Ilizwe ngelethu webasebenzi. Oba kudala osisebenzela amala webasebenzi. Oba kudala osisebenzela amala webasebenzi. Ilizwe ngelethu webasebenzi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Comrades, Comrade Chairperson of the ANC, we thank you. We thank you very much as Cosatu for the words of encouragement. Indeed, they are strengthening us. We know that the ANC has been with us through and through all the time. We indeed have been encouraged by the recent Alliance Summit, as we have spoken about it. We have been quite clear on how we understood the intervention by the ANC. That intervention of the ANC has helped us to be where we are even today. We would have not been here. So we thank you very much. Comrades, we are racing definitely against time. And you've been sitting for the past 2 hours. We are now about to enter into the business of Congress. I know that we have already started even yesterday, and we have been reading the documents of the Congress. You are ready to engage robustly on it. The national office bearers simply working with the political commission of the Central Executive Committee and therefore the CEC drafted this document purely to guide the discussions, not to straitjacket delegates. We agreed yesterday that there was not going to be a presentation of the document because it is understood to have been read. We hope our resolutions committee is ready to follow the debates, and the general secretaries within our unions have instructed quite well, even within the unions, on how we should follow the discussions. We are at that point now. I know that lunch will be close by, and yesterday many of you did not even have supper. We acknowledge that. But before we enter into a discussion, let me say that we have this Congress thanks to a number of sponsors. Because remember, it was not budgeted for. At least from Cosatu side and the unions, no union had budgeted for a special National Congress of Cosatu. For it to be successful and be fully paid for, so that you could all be sitting like this and wearing what we were wearing yesterday. There's been different people who made sure that that was achieved. I'm not going to mention them, but most of our sponsors are here.
Cosatu President Stumo Dlamini about to wrap up the formal and open part of this special Congress of Cosatu, necessitated, of course, by quite a number of things that have been happening within and around the Trade Union Federation over the past couple of years or so. Well, joining me now here in studio is the South African Communist Party's Deputy General Secretary, Soli Mapaila. Welcome, sir, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, so far the SACP's reading of the mood, but also of the events of the past day and whether they did indeed at least contribute towards what this Congress was meant to do, which was to unite the workers of this country.
Yes, we think so far the leadership has done very well, as we have seen before the president concluded his remarks, opening remarks. The entire Congress stood up, almost over 90% of it stood up, clapping hands to appreciate in a standing ovation the message that he gave, the message of unity, of focus of what the struggles of the workers should be about. And I think that's encouraging to see the organization coming out in this form. Yesterday, after the acceptance of credentials, after the two voting processes, he actually shed a tear. Some of you could have noticed in front there. Basically, when we asked him what was this about, he said this was a sense of relief. And I think that they have entered that stage now, new focus, new vigor, going forward to consolidate the unity of the Federation and to take forward the struggles of the workers.
Well, certainly a sense of relief for him, for his central executive committee, but also for the like-minded affiliates. But the question is whether it resolves, in other words, what has happened up until now resolves the underlying, the deeper problems that have plagued the Union Federation.
Yeah, the platform was open for all to debate, and I think that now that they've entered into the second phase of discussion, discussing the primary document they prepared, which focuses on unity of the Federation, and many affiliates will then have a bite on it. Of course, some of these debates started yesterday. I think all of them are committed to the process. Some of them, obviously, they were not all in the same loop, and he took time in his message to characterize what led to the process where the Federation is, the various interventions that the CEC had to undertake, including the expulsion of one of its affiliates, which was a very sad decision at the time, but he gave the reason, the context, why they came to that particular conclusion, including on the case of the former General Secretary, Comrade Zimbabwe. But I think going forward, the other unions have to deeply reflect on this particular matter, because we can't continue to define democracy outside the values of democracy. Because, for instance, if you want to be part of the federation, you have to accept the collective decisions of the federation. And the collective decision of the federation you don't necessarily have to agree with every single part of it, because there are other times when, for instance, the unions agree on issues that actually favors your union, and you don't say, because this one that favors only my union, don't accept them, and so forth.
The same would apply, because other people would argue there's majoritarianism and ask whether that is in fact helpful. What about the magnanimity of those that may have won here in terms of numbers, but which may not actually help the deeper and underlying causes of where things are at the moment? Do you not feel that those who have won here have a responsibility to actually, even if it means to maybe half kneel and say to those you've defeated, come on, brother, let's work together? I mean, do they not have that responsibility? Will it be simply a question of winner takes all?
No, I think that's the spirit of actually embracing everyone. The president, actually, in our party message, indicates that there are no winners here. The winner is the federation. The winner is the majority of workers represented by this giant movement, Cosatu. So the attitude here has been to embrace everyone, to come on board, to appreciate what could be achieved together, working collectively as a single-minded federation focused on advancing workers' interests. So obviously there must be a space for comrades to appreciate what has happened. For instance, the democratic process that took place yesterday must be respected, because this is a democratic movement, and I think that going forward the comrade will actually appreciate that. But the president also made this call that the winner is the federation, the winner is Cosatu, not particular affiliates.
Now, throughout this saga, the SACP has been fingered, your General Secretary in particular, as having played a significant role in dividing Cosatu workers.
That's absolutely not true. In fact, many of former General Secretaries used to call him the doctor of the workers, because of his commitment to deepen worker solidarity, to educate workers ideologically, to take a class stand, to defend their own positions against the rapacious brutality of capital, which is the actual oppressors of workers. So for all these years, he has been an outstanding spokesperson of working class interests, of the interests of the workers. But overnight, because a particular clique of leadership, particularly in NUMSA, has decided to take this particular position, they decided to finger the Communist Party and to finger him as the leader of the Communist Party. Of course, that's further from the truth. Many workers here belong to the Communist Party, including, by the way, even some of those who belong to these other federal organizations that were actually not in consort with the rest of the many affiliates. So it's further from the truth that the Communist Party is fingered in that form. The Communist Party stands for unity of the workers, and will continue to play that particular role.
Now, assuming that the foundation that has been laid here will indeed deliver the goods in terms of uniting Cosatu and building it or rebuilding it, and forgetting about the things that have happened up until now, where do you see your role as an ally of Cosatu? What are the things that you believe you are better placed to actually do and contribute to the process that has been started here, assuming that it is going to deliver what everyone would like delivered?
We've been playing some role for quite some time. Even during this most difficult period, we've had a series of bilateral discussions with the leadership of Cosatu. Many of them behind closed doors. We've shared our perspectives about what to do. We've recently even discussed through a dedicated discussion document on the state and challenges facing the trade union movement in South Africa. And we've shared those perspectives with the workers, particularly at federation level and affiliate level. That's the work that we'll continue to do. That's part of our job, to characterize the conditions of the workers at the workplace and how the unions should respond to that. For instance, the whole notion about the restructuring of the workplace, wherein the capital is butchering workers through labor brokering, through regionalization of work, and so forth. So all of that and casualization, all of that had come under focus. But we also say that the workers, led by the president and of Cosatu and the president of affiliates, must go all out and lead a membership service campaign, so workers can be fully informed about what is the function of Cosatu and what is their role as organized labor at the workplace in order to defend their rights and to advance their rights in the National Democratic Revolution.
Lastly, your ally, the ANC, which is assumed to be, the senior sort of among all of you. Where do you see its role specifically?
Well, the ANC is not a senior alliance partner. It's at the head of the alliance because of its multi-class nature, in a sense that it represents the broadness of the entire components of the alliance, workers, communists, and so forth. But in the context of its function now, we've had this long 5-day alliance summit. In fact, truly speaking, 7 days of alliance summit, because started with a long
after many years of not having one.
Yes, of course. And this was just a political summit where we had extensive discussions about challenges facing our people and challenges of governance that the ANC is confronted with as a leading organization representing the alliance in government. And we've agreed that we need to confront these challenges head on. We'll be going on into provinces. We've agreed the Alliance Political Council must be going to provinces to attend to internal problems within the movement. But much more importantly, to confront those who are challenging this revolution in order to deliver its mandate to liberate our people free completely, even from economic bondage. Because you will remember that actually in South Africa, 70% of the economy remains within the monopoly capital, the conglomerates of economic forces that actually do not appreciate the program that government is doing. If we were to look at, if they were to just give or contribute about 10% of what they owe, they could do at least almost 25% of what government has done in terms of delivery of services, in this case, to the people, building of houses, of schools, of infrastructure and so forth, but they've not come on board in this regard. So now one of the major challenges we are confronting as the alliance is how to respond to this reality of these people who have got too much money and resources, but they are unwilling to spend it on development of the country, but they point fingers on the government with a little budget, as if all problems were caused by this government, when actually problems are caused by big capital, which refuses to invest in the youth of our country, to cut youth unemployment. They expect government to do that. And we are now appreciating that as part of leading this industrialization program at the core of changing the problems of unemployment and major challenges facing our country is government role. So government can no longer shirk its responsibility in this regard. It has to be an employment creator. It has to be a creator of industries that are focused on meeting the needs of the people. And that's the part of the discussion we're having at the Alliance Summit. Now government must translate this into concrete plans.
Lastly, very, very briefly, with the benefit of hindsight, do you believe that the leading partner played the sort of role or the ideal role that it could have played? That's with the benefit of hindsight. Aren't there things that the ANC could have done or perhaps done better in actually avoiding the situation that Cosatu finds itself in right now?
I think the ANC has done its best, and it has continued to do its best. Even when these challenges came up in the manner they did, the ANC rose up to call for unity of workers. They deployed a senior leadership led by 3 officials to confront this particular, in fact 4 officials to confront this particular process. So they've done their best. I think we can't fault them in this regard. But obviously challenges, things changes all the time, new developments and so forth. But I think with the benefit of hindsight, they've done whatever they could have done to improve the situation.
I'm sure history will be the judge. Soli Mapaila, the Deputy General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, reflecting on what happened here and whether indeed it will help to lead to lasting solutions to Cosatu and the broader alliance's challenges beyond this point. Well, that's where we are going to leave it for now. But of course, we will be here throughout the day to bring you updates about what's happening here at this special Congress of the Congress of South African Trade Unions. For now, it's back to the studio in Johannesburg.
international worker contact and solidarity.
And that is a wrap for